Hello, Spiritual Center Spokane. This is Reverend Bonnie, and I'm 1 minute early. So I'm going to wait just a minute before we start. Go ahead and just close your eyes and place your attention upon your heart. And maybe even put your hands on your heart. And let's just make some loud breaths together. Ah, maybe stretch a little. Become present to this moment. Oof. How absolutely delightful it is to be here and to breathe. All right, it's 6 o'clock. So, welcome to Spiritual Center Spokane. My name is Reverend Bonnie. I am so pleased to be with you here tonight and to be live. It has been 3 weeks since I've been live. I've had 3 pre-records, all which happen during the week and get posted so they're fresh and good and all of that jazz. But when I'm live, it's fun because I'm live. So, yay to that. And thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Anna for all the comments that you've left. And I want to invite all of you who watch to leave a comment because it really does make a difference on these YouTube analytics. And since I'm 8 months into this and still new, it will take a while until I come to a place to be robust enough in order to actually make a living doing this. So I want to invite you to share this with your friends if you feel so called and to support this ministry, this teaching in any way you can. And I just give you a big shout out and thanks in advance. So, I want to talk about flow tonight, and I want to talk about money and finances tonight and consciousness. And everything is consciousness that we speak about here. So, I want to come at these topics from a place in consciousness. So, you guys, summer is coming to a close. Now, I don't want to put a damper on things because here in the Pacific Northwest, our summers go until the end of September. I mean, it can be really beautiful here for quite some time. So the plug isn't being pulled, but we're coming closer to fall. And so I invite you just to enjoy and stay present to and lap up every moment left of summer. And this summer, I set the intention that I was going to work on my health. I've shared with many of you that I am working out a lot more, eating different, and preparing my body temple so that it goes into this next phase of my life very healthy. And so I've had a huge change in the way that I'm doing my body. So the summer for me was about body awareness, about increasing my exercise, eating healthy. It's about self care related to the body and about completions. There's a whole bunch of things from books that I've started writing that I haven't finished to court cases to letters that need to be written to projects that need to be completed around the house. And I just have a big, huge list, and I've been going through and checking them off, and it feels really good. And while doing that, I said, okay, I am leaving this space wide open to see what comes to me. And what came to me this summer was absolutely magical. I could not have made it up better if I tried. And it started with Vashon Island asking me to come and speak. And I usually speak in July over at Burton Community Church over there. And it is a highlight of my year. It's just a beautiful small community that deeply, deeply loves Jesus. And what I like the most about their services is they openly pray together for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, where they do prayers for things they're grateful for and prayers for challenges, and they turn them over to Jesus because it's a very Christian church. And the energy in the room during collective prayer is so magnificent, and I absolutely love that and enjoy it. So, I had it on the books, and then, 3, 4 weeks before heading over there, before it was time to go, a friend invited me to go to the concert of Pamela Benton over in Port Townsend the weekend before. And I thought, well, why not? It's only a ferry boat ride away. So then I called up a girlfriend I went to elementary and junior high and high school with, a friend I've had since I was 5, who lives on Hood's Canal. And I said, will you be home and can I stay with you? And she said, absolutely. So then I had days with my friend. I had the concert and the talk that I was going to give. And then my friend's husband passed. And um, they set the memorial service for when I was in town, not for me, but it just happened to be that weekend. And hey, Lily, I'm giving you a shout out there, sweet girl. So, so it just happened to be while I was in town. So that just tucked in real well. And then a friend of mine was in town for a high school reunion, and I got to attend that. And then a client friend of mine flew me to Las Vegas, where she lives, so I could spend time with her working on a project. So everything just fell into place. It was like bam, 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 bam. And then I was invited by a friend to join her in Missoula, Montana. So a couple days later, I was there floating a river and riding e-bikes up and down the street and just playing, which was so much fun. And then I came home, washed my clothes, and a day later left to summer camp. And how that came about was a couple, a friend of mine who were a couple, a husband and wife, had bought summer camp tickets and then they had a change in plans. And so they called me and said, hey, you want our space? And so out of seemingly nowhere came this incredible vacation, an entire week long on Hood's Canal with beautiful weather, with deer everywhere walking the grounds, with oh, it was amazing. All my food prepared for me, friends all around, people of high consciousness, which was delightful. And I went to camp different this year than I've ever gone. So this is a summer camp that Center for Spiritual Living in Seattle puts on. And eh, I used to go there, so I have lots of friends there. And I usually show up and participate in everything. They have morning classes, they have afternoon workshops, they have arts and crafts, they have games at night that people stay up till all hours of the night and play. They have concerts, they have um, just activity after activity. And this year I went and I said, I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to listen to my intuition. And I'm only going to do that which will match my energy or raise it. But I'm not going to participate just because it's there. And so I ended up having this week of a lot of rest, of great hiking, of picking blackberries, of going to a great talent show. I would never miss that. It's always so good and so funny. And it was just this week where I felt totally and completely supported. And when I returned home, I was so buoyed because I had listened to myself. And this has been a very, very long journey of mine of giving my power away to the outside and doing what I think I should or ought to do, acting from a codependent place, and to now be in a place where I can hear my own self, feel my own energy field, and make decisions that are congruent with right action for me is really huge. And my first full day at camp. I played hooky and I went um, to have lunch with my mom and my sister and just had a ball. So I played hooky another morning to go have lunch with a friend who lived nearby. And it just had this feel of flow to me, which is exactly what it is. And so I was talking with a friend of mine who has long lived in the flow. And she said to me, Bonnie, a lot of people on the planet live this way, which of course I know is true. And of course I've had experiences of, but to have had a summer full, I think is life changing. So I'm very grateful for that. Yay. While driving over to camp, I was listening to a podcast, and there is a financial planner who works exclusively with women to help them to make their first $100,000. And her name is Tori Dunlap. And when I say make her first $100,000, I mean save and have it, not earn it in 1 year. So she, I believe, from reading her book, is from Seattle also, which is really fun. She's young and she learned from her parents how to do money. And she has put together a program and written a really lovely book to teach the world about it. And this is her book. It's called The Financial Feminist: Overcome the Patriarchy's Bull to Master Your Money and to Build a Life You Love. So I recommend this for everyone, regardless of their age, but for sure, if you are under 60, that this book would help you as you move with your life in the area of finances, excuse me. But I do recommend it for all women of any age, and men would benefit from it as well. Where I loved listening to Tori speak is she spoke about the inequality in our cultural systems between men and women around money. And she does a very thorough job of it. And back when I first started my spiritual advising in the late 80s, early 90s, I had a lot of professional women come to me, and they wanted to learn about the consciousness of receiving, expanding, embracing finances. They wanted to learn about the spirit of money. And so I had many sessions with women, and I found myself saying that what made this moment in history unique and different was that my male friends all had dads, grandpas, great grandpas, great great grandpas, all the way up their lineage, who taught them how to provide, taught them how to earn, how to grow money, how to manage money, how to invest. That there was a teaching, if not by sitting down and having conversations, then certainly by demonstration of how they did their own money in their lives. So men were born with the expectation of being a provider, a protector, and a procreator. Those are the three male kind of energy fields. And so they innately had this information. When women would come to me in the late 80s, early 90s, I would say we're the first generation of white women, at least, because a lot of other cultural women had been working in the workplace and providing for their families long before that. But for us white women, we were like, that was the first generation. And we put the burden on ourselves and the shame on ourselves and the expectations on ourselves that we would know how to earn, how to generate, how to invest, how to grow, how to manage, how to do everything with money that our male counterparts knew, with having a mother who demonstrated qualities of home tending and of nurturing. So we were raised completely different. And then all of a sudden, there's a shift. And I was a single mom. And so there was a shift of I need to provide for my own family. How do I go about doing that? Because I was not enculturated into doing that. Now, mind you, it wasn't until 1974 in the United States that women could have their own banking account. And it wasn't until 1988 that women could buy their own home without having a co-signature from a man. So when I bought my first house in 86, I think it was, I needed my dad to co-sign with me because I was a young professional woman and I lacked some body parts that he had. So our culture has changed, and yet there's been a couple more generations after me now of women earning, but it isn't ingrained in us the way that it is in the male. So, what I loved when Tori was speaking was she was able to speak about the cultural context of how we learned money as men and women even more passionately and clearly than I could. And I was so moved by that I bought her book. And in her book, she not only goes through that history, but then she shares solutions, how to do money, what to do with your paycheck, how much to save and how much to invest, and thinking long-term versus short-term and all of that jazz, and in a really livable way. So it's not restrictive. And one of the things she said is that when women are taught about budgeting, they're told to cut out buying lattes and to stop shopping. And they're given some really strict languaging around withholding, where men are never told to drop their golf membership or to stop going to the bar with their buddies to watch football. So the conversation is different on budgeting between the male and the female also. So I found this book moving and powerful. Again, it's Financial Feminist, and I highly recommend it. Tori Dunlap, I think she's out of Seattle. Now, that is like the physicality of money. What do we do when a dollar comes in? What do we do with it? She's good at telling us, okay? Now, the consciousness or the spirituality of money is different. So you and I are multidimensional beings. We are spirit. We have a mind that processes spirit and that stores information. So we're spirit, we're mind. We have a physical body that is also made up of all energy and a spirit. But we think because we can see it in a solid way that it's solid, but our bodies aren't. So we have spirit, mind, body, and we've got our emotional field, and we've got our feeling senses, which all hook up to spirit as part of our intuition. So we are fairly complex beings, and to just learn only about the physicality of money sells us short. And to really step back and look at our consciousness or our perception of how we see money through our minds is really valuable. Oof. Let's take a breath for a minute. I'll get some water. All right. So some of us will see money as something to be afraid of. We have bad money stories. We have been hurt financially. We've been taken advantage of. There have been all kinds of things in the financial arena where we are wounded, if you will. Other people maybe don't feel worthy of having money. Other folks have a scarcity mentality of I can only have so much and not anymore. And that thought comes from a whole bunch of different things. And then many folks have the religious indoctrination that says money is the root of all evil, and it really doesn't say that. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. And when we get to the realization, oh, hi, Jeanette from Burton Church. Woo, how much fun. When we get to the realization that loving something in physical form, separate from loving the divine presence, is a form of separation or what is called sin. So when we get to a place in our consciousness where we can see that everything in the invisible and the visible form is the presence of God, then there is no separation. And then we can call it good. So the metaphysicians of old, like Mary Baker Eddy from Christian Science and Emma Curtis Hopkins and um, Ernest Holmes from Center for Spiritual Living, and the whole movement of metaphysics says that everything that we call good is God. And when I did, it's called Qualities of God, and I wrote a book on it. Everything that we call good is of God. So we say that peace is good. We say that love is good. We say that abundance is good. We say that prosperity is good. And abundance means a full life. Prosperity is financially related. We say health is good. Health and wholeness is good. We say joy is good. So all of these things which we call good are synonyms for God. And I took that to heart and believe it. And one of my tools in prayer is calling forth the energy of a God quality and contemplating on it and researching it and speaking to it and experiencing that energy field. So when I did this deep study to write my book, I went into all major world religion scriptures, and I was able to see where all of them call out these qualities of God as good. And in the Hindu literature, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that from abundance we take, and from abundance we take, and more abundance is made, which would be the Christian concept of tithing, that when we give 10% of our income grows. When we give from what we have, we start creating an overflow in our consciousness. So the idea behind the spirit of money, the spirit of finances, is first of all to realize everything is God and it's good. Therefore, money is God in physical form and it is good. Then the second thing is to realize everything is energy, which I like to use that word in lieu of God at sometimes. I like to say energy. So money is energy. And we can have depleted energy, or we could have excess energy, or we could have in between. And just as we manage our financial energy, we manage our physical energy as well. So, learning about the energy beneath the physical form, the energy that enlivens life, is a very important part of the spiritual journey. So, one thing that we often find around money is with some people, there can be a lot of shame. And the medicine for shame is courage. And someday I can give a talk on that and we could go more into depth for that. But if you are experiencing financial constriction and in your gut, you know that that's related to shame, then bring into your contemplations, into your meditations, the question of being courageous, being open to going beyond your comfort zone. And what I have said in almost every talk, that's an exaggeration, but I say it very often, is that when you're spiritually alive, you are rarely comfortable. That aliveness exists outside of the comfort field, outside of the span of comfort. So you feel like you're risking all the time. You can feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I have that conversation, or if I try that food, or if I do that exercise. But you know inside of yourself that that risk is necessary in order for you to stay actively engaged with the energy of life. Curiosity also helps with that. But so if you experience shame around money, then courage will be the solution for that. And then there are many people that feel unworthy to receive. And that's a whole nother talk as well. And I actually spoke with a friend for 2.5 hours this week on receiving, because she had the insight that in order for her to grow spiritually, she had to learn to receive without feeling obligated to somebody by having received. So she wants to experience pure and clean receiving from love, and letting that be something she takes in without having a need to reciprocate by finding some kind of gift or something to give in exchange, or by feeling guilty that she was giving something and she didn't have something to give, that she was given something and she didn't have something to give back. So that goes to the core of worthiness. What is my value? And do I feel worthy within myself? And that's a whole nother piece of consciousness. So you can see where this conversation of money goes deep, like any topic would, relationship, health, that any area of life we could take, and it goes deep into looking at what's going on in our subconscious mind so that we could be a clean vessel of love for the Holy Spirit to work through us. So it is uh, invaluable to us to find out what's in our way of experiencing money as a form of God love. So then I have several friends and clients who have had this either or of I can have money or I can have love. And then, of course, the Beatles came out with the song Can't Buy Me Love, Can't Buy Me Love. And so for a lot of people, there's an either or. And when someone is at choice of do I have money or do I have love, people are going to choose love like almost every time. And or they're going to choose money and shut love down and not experience that. So they're in their head and their heart isn't open. And that's a whole another ball of wax, as we know. So what we want to do is we want to get to a place of neutrality around finances. We want to get to a place of acceptance. We want to get to a place of appreciation. We don't want it to run our lives. We want it to be a tool for us to live a good life. And we want to have the freedom to circulate it, to grow it, to do all kinds of fun stuff with it. And it is an energetic aspect of being alive. So to keep it not as a separate thing, but as an integrated piece is very valuable. So one of the practices that I suggest is to bless, just like we bless our food before we eat it, is to bless our money. Bless our money in our wallet, bless our money in our bank accounts, bless our stocks or whatever kind of investments we have, and just give thanks. Give thanks for the abundance that exists in our lives. And when we pay attention to what we have, then we're not paying attention to what we don't have. And so often people get stuck in a rut of seeing the money they don't have, and then that concern, paranoia, distraction grows and grows and grows and grows until I've had conversations with some people that are all about the money they don't have, and that's not a fun way to live. So, ooh, that was a lot. That was a half hour of a lot, you guys. And I want to say one more thing before we go into a spiritual practice together. And that is, I had another awareness this week. And the awareness I had, I was watching a show with another interview on it, and it was a Stanford researcher on health. And he was talking about the power of going outside every morning and looking toward the sun and allowing that energy to come into our body temples and activate us. It's actually a form of like energetic food. And there are some spiritual folks in the Himalayas and other places that actually have lived on the sun without food, which is something I don't recommend. And that's not what this is about. But just to say that there is an energy that comes from the sun that activates us. And he says it keeps our circadian rhythm going so that our bodies know when it's time to go to sleep, and we sleep better and we process our food better and we're healthier. And there's just like a whole bunch of research now on how this serves us. And when he said that, I got goosebumps. And I got goosebumps because a couple years ago, I was giving a talk on Earth Day about how the earth really is our brother sister. And I did a whole bunch of research on the parallel between our human bodies and planet Earth. And now I'm talking off my head, so I'm not remembering all the details. But, like we're 80% water. Again, not sure that's the right number, but whatever percentage of water we are is the percentage the earth is. So Earth has lots of water, we have lots of water. The land mass or the soil has its own microbiome, just like we do in our gut. And we share some of the same microbes and bugs and all of the stuff that lives in us lives in the soil, or a good portion. We share that together. And one of the big ahas I had that was just floored me is we actually have more non us, non our own body cell structure in us than we have us. So we have more outside bugs and micro microbes and little critters that live inside. We have more of that in our gut. We have more other than we have ourself. And that floored me because then I realized when I say I'm taking care of my body, I'm taking care of a whole colony of beings, physical beings in my body, not just a singular presence. And there was something about that that became so holy and sacred to me that I was a walking biosphere of life. And that my consciousness is responsible for its well being. And so when this Stanford researcher said that it's important in the morning to go out and to look toward the sun for just a little bit and receive. And then he said, if you could do it at the end of the day, that's good too. I realized, oh my goodness, we really are living expressions of something so much bigger than our body. And it is an integrative system that works together in order for life to be expressed. And in the education I grew up in, we were really taught autonomously. We were taught to be individuals to be that we are separate. And now what I'm learning is the consciousness of mystics tell us that we're all one. And what I am now seeing, experiencing, learning is that we truly are an integrated whole. And that is very exciting. So I had a lot to say tonight. Let's go ahead and meditate together. And I'm so glad that you're here. So let's go ahead and close our eyes. Take a nice big deep breath. Let's feel our feet on the ground. Knowing that the earth is our home. The earth is our home right now. Let's feel into our home through our feet. And as we feel our feet on the ground, let's open our crown chakra, the top of our head, and let's just allow the light from the heavens to come down through our body temples. And let's just take some time to receive the energy from Mother Earth and to receive the energy from Father Sky. And since we are masters of energy and are going to become even more masterful, feel into that energy field inside of your body and the one directly outside of your skin. Make sure as you're receiving that you're breathing. And just notice if your mind is wandering to bring your attention back to feeling the energy within your body temple and just outside your skin. And if our attention wanders and we start having incessant thoughts, bring our attention, just pick it up like a dog who just went potty off of the pad. We just pick it up and we place it back where it belongs. We're going to place it back ever so beautifully into the feeling tone of our field, into our body and the space directly outside our skin. And so become aware of your heart and notice if it's opened or closed. And breathe life into your heart, your energetic heart. And the Eastern religions say that behind our heart is our spiritual heart. So the front of our heart is what meets humanity, and the back of our heart is where spirit lives. And so whenever I do heart work, I imagine a vortex coming out from my heart, starting like an ice cream cone, really small inside and getting bigger as it goes outward, and then the same in the back. That it originates in the heart area of my body temple, and the energy of love goes out in both directions, the front and the back. And let's just feel into that for the next few minutes. And in this space where our heart is open and emitting that beautiful energy that comes from the heavens, that comes from the earth, that comes from the Holy Spirit herself, just allow that beautiful energy as it emits, place right in the midst of that energy someone that you love. And we don't have to try to change them or try to do anything. We're not manipulating a thing. We're simply placing the visual of someone we love right in the middle of our heart energy. And let's bow to them and thank them for being there. And let's place ourselves right in the flow of our heart energy. A visual of us. And then let's bow to ourselves and let's bring into that space our family, our extended family, those we love and those we struggle with, those we have opinions about, and those who think the way we do. Doesn't matter, we're just putting them in the field. It's a beautiful practice to keep our hearts open with those in the field. And let's bow to our family, thank them for being there. And now let's put some money in that space, keeping our heart open without judgment, just letting it sit there in our field. And let's bow to that. And now we don't know who all of the people are who are currently watching or will be seeing this YouTube. So let's just take a generic man and woman and place them, can even be stick figures, just a symbol, place them in the field, knowing that that love that is coming from me and from you is also coming from everyone who's tuning in, whether it is synchronistic or asynchronistic. And what's beautiful about God is that there is no time and space. So let's just see a symbol and allow that to flow. And let's bow down to that symbol. Let's bring our attention off of our heart, place it back on our feet, and feel the ground beneath us. Let's just allow any of that huge heart energy to just go through our bodies, down through our feet, into the earth. And the beautiful Mother Earth energy coming back through our body temples, up out our head. And so, as I close in prayer today, I do so giving thanks for each one of us showing up in order to learn, in order to listen, in order to receive a transmission and a transference of the presence of God's love right here and right now. For God is everywhere present, and we can't leave Him, her, it. We can't leave the field. We can't leave the presence, for it is that which is invisible and it is that which is visible. And so I give thanks that right where I am, God is, and right where you are, God is, and right where each and every person on YouTube is, God is, and right where every single individual on this planet is, God is. And so I trust that divine presence that is activated within humanity to take and to know right action. I give thanks that God provides a guidance system within each one of us that we may hear and see and know and feel the divine presence of God's love. I give thanks that we are committed to showing up as more of this, more of God, more of love, more of the presence through our conscious awareness and our open heartedness. And so I give thanks for who each one of us is, and I give thanks for what each one of us does. And I give thanks for the awareness that there is only one presence and one power and one love in this world, and that we are that. And so for this and so much more, I do give thanks. And so it is. Amen. All right, dear friends, love and blessings. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. And may the love that you are continue to be shown to you over and over and over again. Love and blessings.